captains in front. Owen Kelly there in the blue helmet, and the Cork captain is Shane O'Neill. And irrespective of the circumstances, you know, most hurling followers believe, I think, that the summer would be incomplete somehow without a Tipperary Cork championship match, and ideally held here in the home of hurling, here in Thurles itself, where the pitch looks good, the fans are happy. A crowd of around 30,000 anticipated here. They were telling me that they've sold 24,000 tickets before the match, before the start today, and they were hoping that there might be another 6,000 or so would make their way up from the town centre, from Liberty Square, where there's so much good crack always on big match day. Now, if you notice and you're watching in HD where the match has gone out today, and you're looking at the Cork team and you're seeing all, well, look at the helmets. Now, how many times have you seen Cork with red helmets and more red helmets and more red helmets? I don't know what's happened, but whether it's a job lot or something, but there's only one. There he is, Patrick Horgan, the last man, wearing his usual blue helmet. Reminds me of a World Cup match back in 1978 in France, when the Romanian football team came out for a group game and they all had orange hair, all bar the goalkeeper, and he was bald. Poor man.
I thought you were going to say they all had helmets on.
Michael, your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I think Offaly in Dublin produced a great game earlier on, and we're hoping for a huge game here today to get the hurling championship really up and running. A great day today with two brilliant matches on offer. I suppose what I find interesting with the Cork team is their full forward line: Luke Farrell, Paddy O'Sullivan, Patrick Horgan, three very fast, skillful players. They've gone for a big target man over the last few years. We had a Sakio Halpine or Michael Cusson usually at full forward. A lot of high ball going in, but obviously they're going to change their tactics. And I think, you know, Dennis Walsh really should have done this a couple of years ago. Just gone with a new look team and tried to freshen things up. There's only 5 of the 2005 team left there today, and I think they have to go with the youth. And so it'll be interesting to see how it works out for them. But Tipperary look very, very strong. And Seamus Callanan is really the man I'm looking forward to. He's supposed to be in unbelievable form in club championship and in training. He's very disappointed he didn't make the start in 15 last year for the All-Ireland, but he had a great game when he came on in the final, and he's starting today, and I think we'd expect a huge game from him.
Well, as you say, he had a great final indeed in 2009 as well, and you looked ahead and you expected him to make the progress in 2010. It didn't quite happen, playing cameo roles here and there. Lark Corbett, well, what a year he had last time around, but he has played little hurling during the winter. I remember him making his comeback game in the National League, the Alliance League. He made it in Nina, came on as a second half sub, didn't really touch the ball in that match. So maybe the expectations are too great that Lark can do it all over again.
Yeah, well, you know, he doesn't need to do it in the league anymore. He's around a long, long time. He's going to pick his games, and it's all about the championship for the likes of him and Owen Kelly at this stage. They're around since 2001. So they don't have to prove anything in league matches. That's for maybe young players trying to make the breakthrough. So I'd expect him. He looks very sharp there in the warm-up. Interested to see the warm-up. Tipperary had a couple of shooting drills, very traditional sort of a warm-up. Cork had 55 cones, I counted out on the field. It was more like some sort of a driving test or something that was going on. But it was just interesting to see, and they did an awful lot of running in the warm-up, and Tipperary just seemed to be much more relaxed. So it'll be interesting to see who starts the better.
Revenge, I suppose, for 2010, Michael, is bound to be top of Tipperary's agenda this afternoon. As Gerloff Nan was saying in studio, if Tip don't win this, in his view, they're unlikely to win the All-Ireland.
Yeah, well,
would you go that far?
I don't know about that, but I think that it's Tipperary's first game. They've had a lot of injuries during the league. Brendan Maher is still not back, but it's really the first time I'd say they've got most of their All-Ireland team. They've 13 of their team out there today. So you know, Declan Fanning's retired, so the only one they're missing really is Brendan Maher, and young John O'Keefe coming in as a top-class player. But it's still their first game together since last year's All-Ireland, so you don't know how they're going to go. And it's the same with Cork. It's a brand new team for Cork as well, so it's all on the day. And you know, Cork and Tip have produced plenty of surprises over the year, but I just expect Tipperary to have too much firepower. And Stephen McDonnell is on Larry Corbett. He's a huge job, but he is a great athlete, and he should suit Larry Corbett to play.
Just coming up to 4 o'clock. Before the match, the national anthem. It's time for the Munster Hurling Championship to get underway. One of Irish sport's great occasions. Tipperary, the All-Ireland champions, against Cork. It's Tip who won the toss. They played from left to right in the first half, and they will be wind supported for the opening 35 minutes. Brian Gavin from Offaly is in charge. His linesmen today, James Owens and Jason O'Mahony. So all is set, ready to go. The All-Ireland champions then hoping to get away to a good start here up against their great old rivals. And straight away they battle in the middle of the park there, but it's gone out over the line. And line ball, the outcome, it's got to be to Cork. And John Gardner playing today in what is his 44th championship match. The only member of the usual half-back line that we've seen over the years, that All-Ireland half-back winning combination of 04-05, still in the team. So stalemate in the middle of the park. William Egan there, the number 6, going in to try and get it for Cork. Breaks back out here, however, and swept away once again into the half-forward line. The clashes in there involving Padraig Maher, centre half-back for Tipperary. Cian McCarthy getting onto the ball, some 65 metres out from the target, over towards Luke O'Farrell's corner, going across there, Paul Curran. In quickly, here comes Paulie O'Sullivan, and O'Sullivan hits it, and it goes wide. Was it touched by the goalkeeper? Certainly a stick seemed to hit it.
By Brendan Cummins, yeah.
Let's watch it again here.
Yeah, what a great chance. Paulie O'Sullivan breaking straight through. Good shot, a great,
no question.
Great save by Brendan Cummins, out for a 65. And they've spotted the mistake.
Yeah, it's got to be a 65, first of the match, following a great piece of goalkeeping by Brendan Cummins. 63rd match for Tipperary in the championship this afternoon. What a brilliant player he's been over the years. So he gets set to face whatever may accrue here. John Gardner's going to be the taker, playing against the breeze now in the opening 35 minutes, remember, and trying to get the perfect start, but that has drifted away to the right. So first opportunity has gone a-begging, but at least they did get a 65 out of it. And it was interesting the kind of ball they were playing in there. Cian McCarthy playing it low in towards Luke O'Farrell to set up attacks. Now under pressure back there. It's Lorcan McLaughlin needing a bit of assistance. Padraig Maher there trying to get it for Tipperary. Also there Seamus Callanan, forced away out of danger. William Egan trying to get there ahead of Padraig Maher. Comes to John O'Brien, back as far as John O'Keefe, the debut man, hit into space there. Out comes Donal O'Cusack, and Cusack getting bottled up there by Seamus Callanan, and it ends up being a free out for Cork.
Yeah, very good play by Donal O'Keefe, because Seamus Callanan was completely unmarked if he got onto that ball, and Donal O'Keefe came 25 yards off his line, very sharp.
So this free to Cork, ready to be taken by their goalkeeper, the man from Cloy, now 34 years of age. Big one up. Plenty of Tipperary players there to get it away. One of them, Shane McGrath, down towards Owen Kelly, didn't quite reach him. William Egan instead, and Egan coming out with it here. Little hand pass forward towards Park Cronin, containing it. Has a support player just to his right. Knocks it forward instead towards Pat Horgan. Easily identified in the blue helmet, looking for the opening point of the Munster Championship, and he's found the range perfectly. Good score by the 23-year-old from Glen Rovers.
Yeah, Ger, and Pat Horgan, as a midfielder, had a super National League, and a beautiful diagonal ball in front of Pat Horgan, and a great score.
Well, it's the kind of ball that they're hoping to play into that inside forward line, but under pressure with John O'Brien for Tipperary, now responding immediately. O'Brien striking under enormous intense pressure from Shane O'Neill, who was out to mark him that time. Well, wasn't a good shoulder. It was coming in there by Lark Corbett, and it gets hot and it gets heavy. Owen Cadigan, Cork's number 3, in the thick of the action as well. And there, Noel McGrath in the green helmet, and the referee might need a word with his linesman James Owens. Well, he's happy enough that nothing very much happened. Free awarded anyway, and it's going to be a free out. Yeah, it was a shoulder into the back rather than shoulder to shoulder. Not executed perfectly by Lark Corbett.
And John O'Brien just before that, straight through, didn't have the pace to get away from Shane O'Neill, and brilliant defending, and Owen Cadigan, and Lark Corbett gone in at full forward onto Owen Cadigan now.
Donald Cusack's free then, up into the Tipperary 45-metre line. Cork players trying to make something of it. Hit in that time by Niall McCarthy. Inside towards Pat Horgan. They look for Paudie O'Sullivan as well. O'Sullivan forward for Horgan. Got the first point. A goal chance this time. And it flashes wide across the face of goal and goes harmlessly wide. And it was a glorious chance. And the first three meaningful attacks here in this game for Cork only yield a point. They could be a couple of more scores up at this stage.
Yeah, Jaron, I just said to you before the game that this full forward line for Cork has goals in them if they get the right ball, and really they should have 2 goals now at this stage.
Well, they'll be annoyed that they're not further in front, and it might be costly later on. That little hand pass back there towards Seamus Callanan has gone beautifully over the bar. The pass delivered by Owen Kelly, but the point by Callanan is first of the match, teams level in the 6th minute.
Yeah, and he's gone in centre forward with Noel McGrath on the wing, and it's amazing how these players can interchange so easily. Noel McGrath brilliant at centre forward last year, and now he's out in the wing, and Callan at centre and Lark Corbett at full forward.
The puck out reaches Pa Cronin, did well, knocks it ahead here towards Luke O'Farrell, trying to come back to make a better angle for himself. Delivered in there towards Cian McCarthy, batted down well, but onto it quickly came Pádraig Maher, centre half back for Tipperary, the captain of the under-21 All-Ireland winning team last year. What a season he had. Clipping it forward there in towards Garrow O'Brien. Out here as far as the man on the wing here, David Young. Huge one down. Full back, full forward, challenging. Goalkeeper comes, and Donald Cusack, with the crowd getting excited, keeps calm, knocks it away, but Cork can't retain it there through Lorcan McLaughlin. Line ball to Tipperary, and there's a Tipperary player down on the ground. I think it might well be Lark Corbett. Physio in straight away to attend to him. He's been in the wars in the opening minutes of this match. It's hot and it's heavy. Terrific pace to the game. And they're very concerned about Lark Corbett. You can see by the demeanour here. He was tussling and challenging there with Cork's Stephen MacDonald, and he came off second best. Well, even though they have forward substitutes, they wouldn't want to have Lar off the field for too long. It's a cut, and he's going to have to be temporarily subbed, I would imagine. Now, one of the Burkes might well come on here, Pa Burke or Shane Burke. The man who is coming on is got to be Pa Burke. So that'll be a blood sub.
Yeah, there was definitely contact there. Lar tried to get in over the top onto the ball, and Brian Gavin didn't deem it to be a free. The two of them were tussling for it, and I don't know how he got the belt through the helmet, but
it happens.
He's bleeding from the forward.
Noel McGrath kept that in play. Still trying to get it up onto a stick. Got the last touch. It's got to be a line ball to Cork. Interesting, Brian Gavin's one of those players who lets the players, by and large, get on with it. Or one of those refs who lets them get on with it.
Yeah, he doesn't give an awful lot of frees. He tries to keep the game flowing, and usually games the refs are very enjoyable.
This comes back here as far as Seamus Callanan. That's going to the left of the target. And Donald Cusack is rolling instructions at his backs there to get tight, mark up. Notice the movement of the Tipperary forwards going this way and that.
Well, he is there. Patrick Maher was 40 yards away from John Gardner there. He was just in the edge of the square, and John Gardner was standing out near the 50-yard line, and that's why Donald Logue was shouting at him there to get back and mark his man tighter. So
teams level after 8 minutes of this first round Munster Championship match. Place for the winners in the semi-final against Clare. Referee was going across to talk with Pa Cronin at this stage. Pa Cronin and Shane McGrath having a fair old tussle in the opening moments of this game. Shane hoping to get back to the form he enjoyed back in 2008 when he was an all-star. Big moment as well for Pa Cronin, who's been on the periphery of the Cork team in recent years. Did well, as the panel were saying in studio, in colleges hurling during the winter in the Fitzgibbon Cup. So still a bit of running repair going on there with that helmet. At least he's wearing a yellow helmet, one of 5 yellow helmets on the Tipperary team, as opposed to, I think it's, what was it, 13 red for Cork. Puck out taken. Pa Cronin tries to go up and does go up with the right hand. Knocks it back there as far as Brian Murphy. Nicely forward as far as Niall McCarthy, the man from Carricktool. Trying to put Cork back in front again, and it goes away harmlessly to the left. And it's a missed opportunity, and that's a third wide now for Cork. Cork have had lots of opportunities, and they should be in front in this match, but it's Patrick Bonner-Marr who's advancing at this stage. Ben O'Connor going back, trying to hook him there, went on as far as Paul Burke, the blood sub, coming across Shane O'Neill, blocked down well, going after it again. Patrick Bonner-Marr again in the white helmet, slipping it back to Seamus Callanan. Back it comes once again, and that ball caught by Donald O'Cusack. And a quick counter-attack out as far as Niall McCarthy. Played some brilliant hurling during the Alliance League. Back to receive a return here again. Knocking it diagonally in there towards Paulie O'Sullivan. It's taken instead by Pat Horgan, and he underhits this shot, and it's an easy one for Brendan Cummins to gather in and to drive away down the field. He's made 100 metres down the field with that clearance, all the way down to Paul Burke. Paul Burke, who played every minute of Tipperary's 7 Alliance League matches, but couldn't quite make the starting 15 for this championship game. And it comes back to Pa Cronin again. Going long into the inside forward line, not the kind of ball they particularly wanted. That kind of high ball in there, it gives the backs an opportunity to close the space immediately and contest for that, and it's going to be a throw in. Tip 1 point, Cork 1 point, 10.5 minutes gone. Cork again trying to lay siege on the Tipperary goal. Comes to Niall McCarthy from the pass by Paulie O'Sullivan, and that one draws a white flag. McCarthy's first point of this match, and Cork back into the lead again. Yeah,
and as you said, Jared, a few minutes ago, Niall McCarthy had a great National League. He's playing brilliant hurling, and just noticing Ben O'Connor there, he's on the Cork team since '99, chasing back 60-70 yards to dispossess Pádraig Maher on the last ball. Great play.
Shane McGrath knocks it on there towards Owen Kelly, the team captain, and Kelly levels it up. What a quick response inside 30 seconds. First of the day for Owen Kelly, and the team's level for the second time.
Yeah, what a player Owen Kelly has been over the years. Brilliant first touch there, and effortlessly over the bar, and Larry Corbett back into the play now as well.
So back to the starting 15 once again. Battered and bruised, no doubt, but ready to exert a big influence. Lar playing it full forward. He's been marked by Stephen McDonnell. McDonnell with very limited championship experience, finding himself in the full back position. It comes back now from that to Noel McGrath in low. Coming across to take it there was Shane O'Neill with some considerable difficulty. Owen Kelly breathing down his neck, very close to the sideline. Brian Murphy, number 7, trying to take it up. Used to be the corner back. Eventually, that's taken by Stephen McDonnell, the 22-year-old from the Glen, trying to burst free. And he's robbed well, dispossessed beautifully, and Tipperary have it back to Noel McGrath, slip back towards David Young, hooped superbly by Niall McCarthy, but they get it back again. And once more there's an opportunity for Seamus Callanan. He's got one, he's got a second.
And that's an absolutely brilliant score. Noel McGrath again, division, a little short ball up the wing, but what a score. One look right out in the sideline and over the bar. I know when to go wide, you say it's not the shot to take, but Callanan is such a great striker, and when he's on form, he can pop those over all day.
Well, this is the afternoon when we're hoping the championship will really take off for 2011. Already had a victory for Dublin over Offaly in the Leinster Championship. Now it's the turn of Tipperary to see if they can steal a march over Cork and atone for last year when they lost in Páirc Uí Chaoimh on this very weekend in 2010 by all of 10 points. On that occasion, you might remember, Cork went for goals and got 3 of them. Also terribly important. 2 of them for Pat Horgan, 1 for Asaki O'Halpine, no longer part of the squad. Tip pressurising once again. Owen Kelly taking it down beautifully. Little jinking run. Oh, the support play by Shane McGrath is superb, and down he went. Fired up. All of the Tipperary players fired up, you can see. That's where the challenge eventually came in here, and he was knocked over.
Yeah, and Owen Kelly, I suppose, hasn't got the pace he had over the years, but he still has brilliant vision, and he has the skill to get himself out of a situation there. Most lads probably would have overcarried that ball, but he was able to switch hands there and give a lovely hand pass and won the free.
This to put 2 between them, and it's Tipperary ahead by 4 points to 2.
Yeah, and it's probably not a fair reflection. Cork had a couple of good goal chances and a couple of bad wides as well. Really, they should be leading at this stage, but Tipperary have settled well now.
Those missed opportunities, Michael, I suppose, could be demoralising for a fairly young, inexperienced forward line. Ben O'Connor trying to get more into the game, and that time it's John O'Keefe, the debut man, number 7, winning that, fouled. Free to Tipperary, which is going to be taken this free by Porringmar, Paudy they call him, all the way down as far as Lar Corbett, his clubmate at Turles Sars. Towards Seamus Callanan, couldn't take it in. Out came Brian Murphy. It's won back, however, by Patrick Bonner-Marr, and Patrick Bonner-Marr puts it over the bar. His first point in the 2011 championship, his 4th point in all. Good persistent play here by Tipperary, and they're somehow grinding Cork down, and they got space there, alarming space. Forward once more it comes for Cork, looking for scores. Niall McCarthy slipping it in here beautifully inside towards Cian McCarthy, and McCarthy striking it off his left and putting it over the bar. That's the response they needed. They keep in touch. 5-3, Tipperary leading.
Yeah, lovely score. That's obviously his father, the great Teddy McCarthy, but if you just look to the right there, I think if he took a few steps, Pat Horgan was clear straight through the middle, and I think there was a goal on again there, but maybe better off at this stage just to take their point.
Through the middle it comes, batted out by Shane O'Neill, who's moved out, it seems, into the half-forward line, following Owen Kelly out there. The hand pass by Niall McGrath comes back towards Garrod Ryan. Easy one for Donal O'Cusack, however. And adventurously carrying it out. The Cork fans saying, go on. He does. Driving it into the inside forwards. Broken down that time by Paddy Stapleton. Stapleton in again, does a lovely little robbery and collects it himself. Carries it on here. The 25-year-old from Borris-Ileigh. Oh, taken away by Ben O'Connor, but won back again. John O'Keefe, number 7, trying to get it for Tipperary. Ben O'Connor, number 10 for Cork. It's picked up here well. Forward by William Egan. Across as far as Pat Horgan, and Horgan's shot is inch perfect. Great score. 2 for Pat Horgan. And from a position where Cork seemed to be giving way to Tipperary, they've suddenly come bouncing back with the last 2 points and made it 5 points to 4.
Yeah, they look really sharp up front. All the full forward line really moving well, and Pat Horgan 2 lovely points already.
Brendan Cummins puck out. Wind assisted, in over the head of Owen Cadigan. In there as far as Lar Corbett, kicked out by John Gardner, out as far as Park Ronan. Slipped back there as far as Owen Cadigan. Does well. Into the corner here towards Luke O'Farrell. O'Farrell trying to get onto it, but there instead is Patrick Maher going backwards. Finally slipping it into the middle towards Garrod Ryan. Difficult one for him to contain. Flicked on nonetheless. Nice control by Seamus Callanan inside his own 65-metre line. Down towards Owen Kelly. Kelly does well. Steals a march there on Shane O'Neill. Kelly still. O'Neill after him. 3 against 1. And in the end the referee decides that he took too much over it, too long over it. Well, he will complain that there was nothing he could do about it. He was being held, perhaps unfairly.
There's a lovely bit of skill here. We'll just see it now when he gets it again. Maybe he held on to it a little bit long, but he was wrapped up here by 3 of them, and he just threw a lovely little hand pass. Or did he throw the ball?
Well, the call by the referee was definitely for taking too long about it.
Yeah, and he did hold on to it, in fairness, for a fair while.
Free out to Cork. Donal O'Cusack taking it. And the man they call Ogie getting it up there towards Cian McCarthy, and there was a bit of an early pull there. And it's going to be a free to Cork, some 50 metres out from the Tipperary goal. A point between them, as you can see, 5-4. And it was Porringmar. Bit of a loose pull that time as Cian McCarthy was trying to get to it. Cian, his dad, as Michael Dagner was saying earlier, the great Teddy McCarthy, winner of 2 All-Ireland medals, same year, 1990. Pat Horgan taking, and Pat Horgan flawless with that, and that's a 3rd for him. 2 from play, 1 from a free, and the team's level for the 3rd time, and we're in the 19th minute. Live action on the Sunday game this afternoon, coming to you from Semple Stadium, home of hurling. Tipperary under pressure. Ben O'Connor, now 32 years of age, and he can still do it, and do it brilliantly. One of the great artists in hurling that I've seen over the last 25 years.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, Ger. I'm talking about Owen Kelly being a great player over the years. Ben O'Connor equally, one of the great forwards of all time, and a brilliant score there, and he's moving so well still at this stage of his career. Great athlete and a great hurler.
There's great movement in this game. Smashing match. Noel McGrath slipping it back out there towards Garrod Ryan, trying to get away. Well, he was slaloming his way past a number of backs there. Lorcan and McLaughlin, one of them, in the end was held. Free to Tipperary, and a chance for them to restore their advantage. So Owen Kelly, team captain, who's had a wonderful last couple of years, playing in the 2 All-Ireland finals, winning one last year. Great leader. Referee has gone in to have a word or two with the umpires down there just to see what they have noticed, and he's calling aside Stephen MacDonald.
Brian Gavin's brother there who called that, the umpire.
Well, it's good to have your brother, one man you can absolutely trust there. Second pair of eyes.
I don't know about that.
You said it. Stephen MacDonald gets the yellow card, so he's got to be careful. Something that happened off the ball, and he's marking Lar Corbett is at full forward, so it's an onerous task for him this afternoon. Getting a card after just 20 minutes play. Owen Kelly taking this just outside the 45-metre line. Breeze behind him, and that's straight over the bar. Most unlikely to miss.
Yeah, I think that's a big card, Gerard, as you were saying
there. The team's level now for the 4th time.
Yeah, I think it's a big card early in the game, because Lar Corbett, you'll find a player of his experience, the next ball he gets, he's going to head for the goals, and if MacDonald pulls him down or anything like that, he's gone.
Again, a good catch by Park Cronin from a puck out. He's caught 2 very good balls now. He's got very good hands. Back to William Egan. Across to the corner there towards Luke O'Farrell. Needing a score just to get his confidence going. Came in and did well during a couple of matches during the National League. And a largely inexperienced full forward line. Not a great deal of championship matches between them. From the puck out, once again it's Owen Kelly. Little block on it, but it comes back there towards Shane McGrath. Owen Kelly in once again to exert some pressure. Out it comes to Lorcan McLaughlin from Kanturk. Running on to Niall McCarthy now. One of those players, a link with the All-Ireland double-winning teams. Back out to McLaughlin, who started that move. Clever, intelligent use of possession. Back it comes again to Niall McCarthy, and that's a very well-worked point, his second. Well, there was sheer efficiency and intelligence in the use of possession by Cork that time, and they shoot back into the lead again by 7 points to 6, thanks to Niall McCarthy.
Yeah, the big call, Conor O'Mahony, I know he's been injured coming up to the match, but left off today, and David Young, who didn't start last year, getting his chance, but 2 points scored off now.
Meanwhile, it's Tip attacking, and it's once again Seamus Callanan, stopped again by the goalkeeper Donal O'Cusack. Cool as could be. Out it comes to Ben O'Connor. Again, great use of possession by the goalkeeper. Out to the man on the wing, and there's a push on Luke O'Farrell, and it's going to be a free for Cork. Tip, who looked at one stage like they might take this game under serious control, finding themselves back in arrears again now, and struggling just a little bit. 23 minutes are gone nearly.
Yeah, and there's a nice bit of a win there to Tip have in the first half, but you'd have to say Cork are using the ball really, really well. They're playing it into space, using the pace of their full forward line and diagonal ball, and they're not wasting any possession, and really they should have a few more scores on the board. They're playing very well.
Got a glimpse there of Michael Gleeson, one of the selectors, with Declan Ryan, as this free is hit in towards Horgan, bounces back out towards David Young, and Young collects, clears. Not a great clearance, giving a bit of work there for Shane McGrath to do, and he's dispossessed, and it comes back again to Park Cronin, and Park Cronin looked away in disgust the minute he hit it, because he knew that was Cork's 5th wide of the first half. Still they lead by 7 points to 6. Tip going into this match absolutely overwhelming favourites. Even down in Cork, where they're eternally optimistic, I don't think there was a great deal of faith that the team could produce a winning performance 2 years in a row against their great rivals from Tipperary. Under pressure now at the back, it's Stephen MacDonald bursting forward. He's a good young player, gets it away, but this should fall for David Young to take. But under pressure from Paudie O'Sullivan, the pressure now is on Paddy Stapleton, the cornerback. Sustained pressure there, and the referee says play on. They do. Might blow it up and throw it in. Happens eventually.
I thought Paddy Stapleton went down over that ball deliberately. I think should have been a free into Cork.
Well, from it anyway, Cork have got it, and it's Horgan going through, and he takes too many steps, the referee has decided. He's got players for that on a couple of occasions now. Free out for Tipperary. And this one is being entrusted to Brendan Cummins, the man who got a point from a free in last year's All-Ireland final, that fateful day in September against Kilkenny when they were going for 5 in a row. Well, now could he score from here? Win behind him inside his own 45-metre line, travelling, moving into the square, dangerously in there, blocked on the line, and it's shot out for a 65. Donal O'Cusack's goal has been under some pressure. Let's just look at this again here as that free landed in towards Owen Kelly. Had a go at it, keeper made a very good stop, swept it out, and there was still a second touch required to notch it out for a 65 and relieve some of that tension in there among the Cork backs.
Yeah, it was a good stop. The ball came, running from 6 or 7 yards out, and Donal Logue very sharp, but the same as Brendan Cummins, the other side. Two great keepers over the last 15 years.
Certainly are that. So Owen Kelly back taking this. Score of 3 points already in the match. 1 from play, 2 from frees. This to try and level it up again. And that one has gone to the left into the town end of Semple Stadium, and the cheers you were hearing are cheers from Cork. Second white for Tipperary now in this match, and it's still 7 points to 6. Not the most high scoring or highest scoring 26 minutes of hurling you've seen so far, but very competitive, quite intense. Donal Logue to puck it out. The wind you can see affecting that, and David Young caught it well, slips it back down again. Lark Corbett caught it brilliantly, trying to make an angle for himself, going back to John O'Brien. Haven't seen much of him, but we have now. He's levelled it up at 7 points apiece. His first point of the match, and he'll be glad to get that one. Level for the 5th time. John O'Brien, the recipient of this pass from Lark Corbett's good running, good catch, played it back into space. O'Brien, troubled by a back injury coming into this match, showed no effects of it there. Good score. From the puck out, it comes to Ben O'Connor, who slips it into the middle once again. Cian McCarthy adding to it, inside towards Paudie O'Sullivan. Paul Curran struggling, needing a bit of support. The reinforcements were there, but so too is Niall McCarthy, advancing with some purpose for Cork. But look at the blockade he runs into. A blue and gold sea of players, and they get the ball away between them. Batted out by Shane O'Neill. Won back by Patrick Maher. And Patrick Maher slipping and falling, and the referee has blown it. Or you see, blown it. No, it's in. It's a goal. The referee allowed an advantage. And it's a goal by Lark Corbett. 1-7 to 7 points. A goal after 28 minutes. The referee was pointing in the direction of the Cork goal, but he was allowing an advantage to Patrick Maher, who got it to Lark Corbett, whose finish was precise, absolutely inch perfect, and there was nothing whatsoever that Donal O'Cusack could do about it.
Brilliant goal, Gerard, but Patrick Maher, you have to give him great credit there. He's one of those players that, not a typical Tipperary forward, but a fierce hard worker, and he's grown all the time into this position of wing forward. Works so hard, and a brilliant pass there, and a great finish, and typical Lark Corbett finish.
Well, now will that turn this match around, just as the goals in Porky-Queeve last year won it for Cork? That time Niall McCarthy was trying to advance, but this time there's a second wave of attack to Ben O'Connor, onto Horgan. Oh, well stopped. I think it was Paul Curran coming across. It was. Got in the way. Ben O'Connor now back for Cork, slipping it inside there towards Cian McCarthy. Another block on this one, and that time it's driven away by Shane McGrath, and the match really does hot up here with some 6 minutes to go to half time, maybe a little bit more. One back by Patrick Maher, time to take it away from Owen Cadigan. He was fouled, free for tip. They lead by 1-7 to 7 points.
Some great first-time hurling by Tip over the last few minutes. David Young played a great first-time ball after catching a puck out into Corbett for the previous point, and then Noel McGrath picked the ball up only 30 yards from his own goal. Long ball down the field and ends up in the back of the net, and that's what I think about hurling. The ball should be moved quick, and running with the ball, I think it really gives defenders a chance to get back into position, and you see Tip there moving that ball all over the place, and their forwards moving all over the field. And
we saw that courageous block by Paul Curran there. Now from all of that, Owen Kelly standing over this. Well, as the crow flies, he's got to make it a good 65 metres really to the target, and he's got it right, spot on. 4 points for Owen Kelly, 3 of them from frees, and it's 1-8 to 7 points. And Dennis Walsh and his Cork mentors now have a little thinking to do, I suppose, coming in towards half-time. Ben O'Connor requiring some attention from the physio. Declan Ryan, who's in the position, I suppose, in a way that John Allen was in back in 2004, taking over an All-Ireland winning team. Donald O'Grady had won it in 2004 for Cork. So that's the challenge facing Declan Ryan this year. Big challenge.
It is, Ger, and the only thing I suppose he's worked with a lot of these lads at minor level, along with Tommy Dunn, and he's a lot of good leaders in the team. You know, these players don't, at this stage of their careers, they're very experienced. They don't need an awful lot of coaching, and Tommy Dunn is with him there, who's done it all as well as a player, and Declan was a great player himself, so to be very well respected by the team. And you know, Ben O'Connor looks to be injured. I suppose what Dennis Walsh's game plan today would be, I would have thought, to be in the game with 20 minutes to go, and then the likes of Tom Kenny, Jerry O'Connor, Cathal Naughton, all ready, Michael Cusson maybe to come off the bench and try to strike for home. So I think the next score or two are very important, that Cork get them, that Tip don't pull away from them.
That was a great advantage which Brian Gavin allowed. Tip's 1-8 made up of 1-5 from play so far, 3 points from frees. Meanwhile, it's Cork who are back into the attack again, but that attack breaks down, and it's Shane McGrath, first time hurling brilliantly inside to Owen Kelly, dodging this way and that. Kelly still it's Kelly. What a goal by Kelly! A second for Tipperary, and an absolutely brilliant goal coming in the 31st minute. Another for the marvellous Owen Kelly, his 18th ever goal in championship hurling. Donald Cusack meeting once again, but this was all about individual brilliance. Absolutely superb.
Well, that's a brilliant goal, Ger. Once again, a brilliant first-time ball by Shane McGrath. He barely let the ball touch his hand, drove it long. Great catch by Owen Kelly. And I don't know how many times, as you say, 18 goals in the championship, but he's done that so many times over the years. He's just a brilliant, brilliant player. Used his strength there to get away, and a great low ball. No chance for Donald.
There's absolutely no stopping him in that kind of irresistible form.
And look at the passion he still has for the game. You know, after captain and Tip to win All-Ireland last year, they're back, you know, very determined, obviously, to do it again this year.
And now Donald O'Cusack is needing some back treatment, because it's been back bending, having to pick the ball out of the net twice already after just 32 minutes. And his team now behind 2-8 to 7 points. In points, that's 14 points to 7. So what does he do? Does he start thinking in terms of plan B? And that would be, as you suggested, Michael, the so-called old guard. They're not that old. I mean, Tom Kenny's only 29, for heaven's sake. Yeah. Start bringing those guys in. As you mentioned, maybe the plan might have been to bring them in with 20 minutes to go, but now...
Yeah, 7 points down coming up to half-time.
Could be on. Yeah, it could be beyond them with 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, and like, you couldn't say that any, maybe particularly the Cork lads playing very badly. It's just a Tip of taking their chances, and Cork had 2 goal chances and didn't take them.
This time it's Garrod Ryan who sticks tight to Park Cronin from the puck out, but Shane McGrath exerting a big influence, middle of the field, and Garrod Ryan working really hard now. Well, this is the part of the game now. Their tails are up. They've got those 2 goals. The goals coming inside 3 minutes. Lark Corbett after 28 minutes, and Kelly's one after 31 minutes of play. Dispiriting, I'm sure, for the young Cork players who are out there. So there's a lot of this match still to be played. Lorcan McLaughlin cutting it in, taken by Padraig Maher, and under pressure he gets it away. Huge clearance down towards Kelly again, up there against Shane O'Neill. O'Neill had missed a lot of the league because of injury. Here's Noel McGrath, hasn't scored so far in the game, but over his shoulder he hits this one. Did we say he hadn't scored so far? He just has. Brilliant score. And every one of the forward line now, starting for Tipperary today, has managed to get among the scores, and it's 2-9 to 7 points. Back live. Pressure is again on Cork, on Owen Cadigan this time, bottled up. And the referee says, free out. Tipperary say, we challenged him fairly. Lars showing the battle scars, that early injury. Shane O'Neill's free. Up it comes towards Cian McCarthy, got a stick to it ahead of Padraig Maher. Running onto it is Horgan, and the referee blows his whistle. Saw a chop down there, and Horgan going through, free to Cork. They need a score. Still about a minute or 2 to go before half-time, because we're bound to have some stoppage time. Physios were on. Free which Pat Horgan's got to take. Should be content with a point at this stage, and he is into the Killinane end. but accurately over the bar. 4 points now racked up by Pat Horgan, 2 from frees, 2 from play. But the other members of that full forward line haven't got among the scores. Luca Farrell or Paudie O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan had a look much earlier on in the game, first attack in fact, when it was stopped by Brendan Cummins at the expense of a 65. Tipperary looking strong and commanding in key areas, but Cork coming back strongly. Park Cronin fouled, tripped. Tip don't need to be that indisciplined because it's out in the middle of the park and Park Cronin wasn't going anywhere in a particular hurry out there.
Yeah, he just got tangled up underneath him, but the big difference here really is the movement of the Tipperary forwards. It's, you know, they're all interchanging, moving all over the place, and what they're doing is they're isolating maybe one man in front of the goals. We saw it with Larry Corbett for the goal, Owen Kelly again, and you know, it's a joy to watch it. You nearly have to be at the match to see the movement of them. They're spreading out to both sidelines, moving all over the place, and sorry, Pat Horgan taps that over the bar, but it's great to see it, and you know, it's very hard to cope with it. I'd nearly leave the Cork backs in their own positions and just leave somebody in around the square to stop them isolating Larry Corbett in there.
Okay, we're playing 3 minutes of stoppage time, 2.5 minutes of that still to play. Horgan now with 5 points. Cork attack again, neatly in here towards the full forward. Paudie O'Sullivan turning around and striking it well inside the right hand post and over, and he's got a point. Now that'll be a big boost to him, and Cork getting the last couple of scores, 2-9 to 10 points, so 5 between them. Coming up to the break, and Cork will feel they still have an opportunity. Brendan Cummins pucking it out. In over the head of William Egan, needing support there from the back. Cadigan comes, the young man from Douglas. The other centre half back, Paudie Marr under it. What a player this fellow is. Avoiding the hook. Hitting it well over the head there of Lark, but it goes in to try and challenge, and it ends up being a line ball for Tipperary. Deemed to have gone off Brian Murphy last. Brian finding himself playing at left half back this afternoon, probably be more comfortable playing in the corner. Noel McGrath to take this, cuts it beautifully. How about that for skill? That's absolutely terrific. Sideline converted by Noel McGrath, who's only 20 years of age still, this young man from Lochmore, Castleiney, making it 2-10 to 10 points.
Yeah, he scored just 2 magic points there, that line ball, and the one before that back over his shoulder with just the hurl gripped about halfway. Pádraig Maher's really begin to dominate the game now from centre back.
And we're just seeing the quality. Oh, we've also seen a wide here by Lark, but that's only their 3rd wide of the first half. Might have had a couple of ropey moments at it, but by and large, when the quality was required, Tipperary had it. All about the park, and the champions now with a 6-point advantage, close to the break. Still in play there, Brian Murphy trying to get it on his stick. Instead it's Corbett who plays it back towards the wing-back David Young. Now, here comes Marr again. Cian McCarthy's after him. Does a little bit of a hook on him, but he still managed to get it in as far as Kelly, and Kelly finishes in his customary style, utterly efficient. A goal and 5 points now for Owen Kelly in the first half. 3 of the points from frees, the goal and 2 points from play. What a display.
Yeah, he looks really, really sharp. You know, it's early in the year for really, it's still only May, and you'd expect maybe Owen not to be at full tilt for another month or 6 weeks, but he's flying it out there today.
Half-time whistle sounds, 7 points the margin going in at the break, and it's Tipperary's to lose at this stage, but they played with a breeze behind them for the first half. Owen Kelly, their scorer-in-chief, with a goal and 5 points. Lark Corbett got the other goal. Pat Horgan was Cork's top scorer with 5 points, 3 of them coming from frees. Analysis coming up shortly. Half-time break at Semple Stadium. It's Tipperary 2 goals and 11 points. Cork 10 points.
Half-time at Semple Stadium, it is Tipperary 2-11, Cork 10 points. Just to give you one or two other scores, by the way, in the Leinster Championship match between Wexford and Antrim, at half-time Wexford leading that game 1-10 to 8 points. And in the Football Championship match between London and Mayo, it has gone to extra time. At the end of normal time there, it was London 1-9, Mayo 12 points, but London were leading that game by a point with time almost up. Now, Cyril Farland, Gerlachman with me here in studio. Jerry, you'd have to say at this stage, 7 points up to Tipperary. Their tails are up now. Without a doubt, Michael. And the only thing is they've been playing with the wind in that first half. True. Now, I suppose we should remember it's the end of May and we are expecting maybe too high a standard, especially with Cork and Tip, because we're so used to them playing in July in a Munster final. So it's a very, very open game. It's a very, very enjoyable game. I think both teams were just feeling each other out really early on in the game, and it all changed completely then when Larry Corbett got the goal, when Bonner Maher set him up. And then Bonner got a free after that, and suddenly a gap opened up. That was the first time a gap opened up in the game. Now, a bit of a worry for Tipperary was the way the half-back line was playing, especially in the first 30 minutes. Now, Tariq Maher stormed into the game in the last 5 minutes, all right. Two wing-backs in a bit of trouble, so with the wind, you know, they'll have to up their performance. But what really changed is when Tipperary started moving the ball really quickly towards that full-forward line. That's when the two goals came. You know, a lot of teams are trying to walk the ball in, passing, fancy stuff. Yeah. But like Tipperary won the All-Ireland last year by direct ball into the full-forward line. And now, since they started that year, they have completely opened up the Cork defence with two goals, but they were two brilliant goals. The first of those was Lara Corbett's. Now, we saw Lara last year light up the championship with some great goals, and of course, remember the All-Ireland final. This is another one to add to the list. Yeah, well, as Gerard said here, Bonner Maher has done all the work here. Again, it's a long ball out of defence. Comes right down here. Now, Maher gets this ball. He shouldn't get this ball down. He's been well tackled. He falls in it here. He's a workhorse, this fella. Goes down the middle. He stumbles here and he's knocked. Now, the ref could have blown here, didn't, but Lara's calling for the ball and he gives it, and of course Assassin doesn't miss them kind of shots. Watch Lara Michael there. He's even calling. He brings out the corner back of him, goes back in, then a little flick across. He's not going to miss that. Cusick has no chance of that. But like, to be fair, Cormac Bonner is the worker. He's doing a lot of work, kind of worked a lot of Tip people, I suppose, only beginning to recognise now. He's never going to score 2 goals and 5 points in play, but like, he's there to make the scores for the boys. And as well, sir, great refereeing from Brian Gavin. You know, a huge contrast between the refereeing in this match and in the Dublin Offaly match. Very sensible refereeing here. No, not throwing out yellow cards. Let the play go, see what would happen, and it was to the advantage of Tipperary, which it should be. It should be to the advantage of the attacking team. We saw Lara Corbett light up the championship last year. As I said, we've seen old Kelly lighting up championships year in, year out, and another one. A fabulous goal. I mean, we were talking about Lionel Messi last night for Barcelona, but direct ball again, it's just as good. What do we like in sport? We like skill. We like to see flashes of absolute genius and a brilliant skill, no matter what sport it is. And here you are, Owen Kelly wins the ball here. Now, Shane O'Neill, his one big fault I've often pointed out is he's not great at tackling the man going through. But what a finish. You know, to take on 3 or 4 players there, to have the power, the confidence, and then to put it away in the one place where Don Lowe had no chance. He was only going to go for a goal. But again, Gerard, that goal came from a long ball from Shane O'Brien. Straight up, straight ball. Exactly. And it's much more effective. Tip are much more effective when they played forward like that. Look at that. Isn't that an example to any young lad where to put the ball? It's not a very, very hard shot, but it's down on the ground, into the far corner, unstoppable. And you'd be saying that a fella at this stage of his career hasn't the same kind of pace and he walks past 4 of them. Cyril, Cork had goal chances. Yeah, like, you know, and they needed these, Michael, especially early on. Now, here again, now the Cork forwards are doing this ball, they get a lucky break here. Paul O'Sullivan runs onto this ball, comes around here, and he gets on the blind side, comes in. Now, he has to go himself, but watch this, Michael. If he saw Niall McCarthy coming here, little hand flick or any little flick, now he was completely but he didn't actually see him. Now, it's a great save by Cummins, brilliant save, goes out for a 65. But, like, if he had to spot Niall McCarthy coming through, now it's hard because he's a young fella in the heat of battle, and he takes a great shot, and it's a great save, but he didn't see Niall McCarthy completely on his own. I suppose he was a little bit older. Now, this is another great chance here. Pat Horgan gets this. Now, this is contrast here. Horgan is going to get it to slip in here beside him, and he has only one thing in goal. Now, watch what Mickey Cahill does. Okay, but Mickey Cahill, when it goes on there, Mickey Cahill goes back. He covers. There isn't a chance here to pass to the corner forward. Cahill goes back, covers. Now, Horgan believes he's going to stick that. It actually goes wide. It's a great shot, but it's just not on target. Beats the goal. He doesn't get in. But Cahill wasn't caught. If Cahill came across, Pat Horgan would slip it across the probably score, but he did the right thing. Good back fence. Remember last year he got a chance like that, and he did actually bury it in the far corner. Same thing. But as you say, brilliant play by Michael Cahill, because he didn't rush, he didn't go at him, because if he did, the fella at the other corner was completely loose. Cork came back from that. They got a couple of points, point from a free, couple of points, and they closed the gap down to 5 again. But Tip have pushed on another little bit now to bring it back to 7.
Well, you see, Pádraig Maher has taken over now as centre-back, and he was out of the game completely. Shane McGrath midfield has come really into the game, and they're moving the ball away faster into the full forward line. That's the big change that has taken place in Tipperary from the first 20-25 minutes, you know. And the same danger, when the ball goes up to the Cork full forward line, the same danger isn't there as you have for Tipperary.
Because
they're skillful, they're lighter, they're more they're inexperienced. And look at, you can save all the great young lads Tipperary have, but who are doing it? Lark Corbett, Owen Kelly. When you have two experienced, skillful players like those, you know, it's very, very hard to stop them.
The young lads will just help you out.
That's right.
OK, we're headed for another break here on the programme. Coming up shortly, it's the second half. We'll be heading back to Semple Stadium shortly. Can I just also tell you, by the way, Wexford have pulled away from Antrim now in the Leinster Championship match down at Wexford Park and are winning that fairly comfortably. Over in London between Mayo and London, Mayo winning by a point in extra time, but London have just got a goal to bring it back to a point. Mayo had been 4 up before that. Now, before we go back to Semple Stadium, we have a great competition for you here on the Sunday game, because you could make the Munster hurling final. And Michael Dignan.
Michael, we just have one team out at this stage. Cork unchanged, looking about. Michael, essentially, would you have expected a change to have been made at half-time?
Yeah, well, I'd say they're probably going to give them maybe 5 minutes now, because, you know, they're playing with the wind. You know, Cork, I think the players are playing reasonably well, but they've missed a couple of good goal chances, as we know, in the first half. They find themselves 7 points down. So I'd say they're going to give lads 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and there's no point having the likes of Tom Kenny, Jerry O'Connor, Colin Knox all on the bench if they're still 7 or 8 points down.
Well, 2-11 to 10 points anyway. That's the position. Len Gaynor, famous Tipperary hurler of yesteryear, always such a popular figure around Semple Stadium. Always good to see him. There he is, dishing out the sweets. Dennis Walsh has a word with his full back line, and that full back line consisting of Stephen MacDonald there on the right, who's got a yellow card already, Owen Cadigan and Shane O'Neill. And I was mentioning during the first half, O'Neill has missed a fair bit of hurling because of injuries over the last 12 months. But he's the captain. He's the one who's trying to lift and inspire this team. And it's a big occasion, I suspect, as well for Dennis Walsh. He's been the team boss now for a couple of years.
Yeah, just I thought maybe that Shane O'Neill might be better suited to wing back with Brian Murphy in the corner. You mentioned it yourself in the first half. Brian Murphy really, to me, is an out-and-out cornerback, and he's very tight and close marking. So I would have thought that switch maybe could be made. Owen Kelly has 1-2 scored off Shane O'Neill, and you know, I think they need to tighten up back there if they're going to have any chance now in the second half.
Right, tip out for the second half. Wouldn't anticipate any changes there. I noticed that Noel McGrath has gone straight into the inside forward line. It looks like he's gone to top of the left. Yeah, there were no changes on either team then. Start of the second half. Brian Gavin from Offaly is the man in charge. Lark Corbett's lurking with intent out around the middle of the park. Nobody marking him. He's like a third midfielder. Game gets underway. So 7 points the margin. And Cork now with a breeze behind them for the second 35 minutes, and it'll be interesting to see just what they can do with it. Michael Cahill and it was Paddy Stapleton who got there first with that ball out over the sideline, so a line ball coming up eventually, went off a Cork man, so it's going to be John O'Keefe who takes it. John O'Keefe, who impressed an awful lot of people in the Alliance League. He's from the same club as Declan Ryan, the manager, Clonulty Rossmore. Cutting it in here towards the full forward John O'Brien out around the 40. Pressure on Cork as Patrick Maher hand passes inside to Seamus Callanan, and Seamus Callanan makes the perfect start to the second half for the All-Ireland champions. His third point of the match as Tipperary cut swathes through the Cork defence and open alarming gaps, and ruthlessly punishes those failings at the back. Cork come back then. That's Cian McCarthy from Sarsfields in Glanmire, trying his luck but hitting it away to the left hand side. 1 point for Cian in the match so far.
Yeah, just interesting there that Tipperary have moved Michael Cahill over on Patrick Horgan. You know, he's scored 2 points from play in the first half, but Tip, you know, obviously acted on that straight away, had Paddy Stapleton under a bit of pressure, whereas on the other end of the field we haven't seen any change onto Owen Kelly. You know, so I think good management there by Tipperary.
Well, now in the middle of the park, it was David Young who had a go at that but didn't quite get the slitter away. Stalemate. Lurcan McLaughlin trying to get it. Young got a second bite of the cherry. Cork have it back through Pa Cronin, their big, strong, towering man in midfield. 6'3" tall from Bishopstown. And here he is again, the number 9. And gracefully getting on to the return pass and knocking it over the bar. First point to the game for him. Cork's first score of the second half. My goodness, there were a lot of gaps there.
Yeah, Cork have created space on a number of occasions. You know, just need to take their chances, and that was a good point by Pat Cronin.
Lorcan McLaughlin now, operating in the middle of the field, but getting a couple of bumps and bruises for his troubles, and Garrow O'Brien went in just to give him a bonus knock. Free had been awarded before all of that anyway.
Yeah, if you see him coming out, I think he swung back to hurl a couple of times there. It's something you see creeping into the game over the last while. A lot of lads, when they break through a tackle, maybe they're swinging back to hurl, and that's why I think Garrow O'Brien reacted the way he did.
John Gardner will take this. John, who's now at his 10th championship season, only once missed a game in that long run, as Brendan Cummins comes to Tipperary's rescue, scoops it out at the expense of a 65, and that's a second 65 for Cork. They had one right at the very beginning of the match as well, and Cummins once again comes, prods it away, and makes sure that there is no danger there for the Premier men.
Yeah, he got down to it well. Pádraig Maher missed the ball in the air. He went to catch it and maybe should have batted it out, and it could easily have ended up in the back of the net.
John Gardner's going to take this. So looking to point and looking to draw it in left, but he doesn't manage to do so. Just a little bit out of luck with the shooting there, but the wind, just to give you some little idea, it's still fresh, it's gusting and it's blowing in the direction of the town end. So Cork have it behind them for the remaining 30 minutes or 32 minutes of this match. That goal ball collected in there beautifully and puts over the bar John O'Brien, his second point in each half, and it's 2-13 to 11 points now. Tipperary, the All-Ireland champions, took it down low, cleverly took it up and swung it beautifully over the bar.
Yeah, brilliant catch by Shane McGrath, and a lovely ball in front.
Shane McGrath, you mentioned, he's down with an injury, Michael, and it doesn't look too good. I don't know that he's going to be able to continue.
No, it looks like he took off the helmet straight away there.
So Declan Ryan has the option now, perhaps bringing in a man who'd love to come back into the action, James Woodlock. He would be the logical replacement for Shane McGrath. So number 26, James Woodlock, a man who broke a leg in the Tipperary County final last year, back into the action again. Cork trying to advance over there with Brian Murphy bottled up over there to pressurise him as Seamus Callan, and in there too is David Young. Murphy again trying to advance, Woodlock trying to hold on to him, ball snipped back out there as far as Niall McCarthy, and McCarthy on his way through. The referee saw the foul and he's bringing the ball forward some extra yards there because of a protest by Tipperary. The work of Niall McCarthy there rewarded. Cork have the free, and it'll be Pat Horgan who will take it. Scorer of 5 points in the first half. Cork will feel that they can continue to chip away at Tipperary's lead, and you never know what might happen. A sixth for Pat Horgan. So 2-13 to 12 points as you were at half-time, a 7-point gap between the sides. Brendan Cummins, his 8th time playing against Cork today in the championship. Just 5 wins in the previous 7. Looking good for him so far this afternoon, but early days. Cork tried to mount an attack. Tipperary tried to repel them. In particular, James Woodlock. Woodlock taking off, 3 after him. Kicked it ahead, needing support here. Garrow O'Brien, steady and assured. Clever use of play, flicking it neatly in there into the inside forward line towards Lar Corbett. Corbett in the yellow helmet. Couldn't get it quite under control. Stephen MacDonald back as far as his goalkeeper, Donald Cusack. Then picking out Niall McCarthy now. McCarthy taking off past David Young. Is the beating of Young, you feel. William Egan under pressure, hitting it down into space, but it's the other number 6, almost untroubled. Pádraig Maher gets it, chance to place it into the half-forward line again. John O'Brien has moved out there, flicked it as far as Garrow O'Brien, ready to take off. 2 Cork men after him, hitting it Cork's defence under some pressure. Owen Cadigan just got enough on that. Out to Egan, back out as far as Brian Murphy. And Brian Murphy plays it directly to Lorcan McLaughlin, and the midfielder sweeping it back in towards the inside forward line. Paudie O'Sullivan going across for it there. O'Sullivan taking it up. Paul Curran stays back from him. Slipped in here and pushed over was the Cork corner forward. And Luke O'Farrell winning the free in. Hasn't scored in the match so far, the 21-year-old from Middleton, but got there first ahead of his man and forced the free. And this to be taken once again by Pat Horgan on the 20-metre line, but about 25 to 30 metres from the target itself, and making absolutely certain no problems whatsoever. So his own individual points mount up, but you would feel at this stage that Cork probably need a goal to ignite their challenge.
There's only 6 points in the church. There's a good wind out there, and they still have 3 or 4 very good players on the bench to come in, so they're not out of this game at all yet.
Lorcan McLaughlin coming, winning it. Woodlock's after him. They're like a pair doing dancing. Still it's McLaughlin, and McLaughlin fires it high. Stopped on the line there by Brendan Cummins. Such a big, tall man, able to get the hand in there, almost keeping it from going over the bar. Here's John Gardner. John Gardner back in. That looks a good one. That's a wonderful shot by John Gardner, taking it in his stride, hitting it confidently. And as you say, Michael, Cork eating into the lead. It was 6, it's now 5.
Yeah, a brilliant score by John Gardner. I thought Brendan Cummins should have just hand-passed the ball out to the cornerback who was loose. Instead he poked it straight down to John Gardner, and brilliant score up the wing.
Tip trying to re-establish mastery around the middle of the field in there. Cork's Lorcan McLaughlin enjoying a good spell in the game at this stage. That's miss-hit there by Stephen McDonnell. Forced forward there towards Seamus Callanan. It comes back off Niall McCarthy. McCarthy ready to take off again. He's got pace, but Woodlock got a flick to it. Back there towards Callanan. Neat hurling, crisply delivered, and the referee saw hurley being thrown. It was the hurley of Lorcan McLaughlin, and McLaughlin's got to be spoken to now by the referee, and he could be the second one to see a yellow card. First was McDonnell.
You just see it here, he just tried to intercept it by throwing the hurl. So.
I think the last time we saw that against a Tipperary team who was in the All-Ireland final.
It was indeed. John Tennyson, I think, threw on it. Lara Corbett going through, but Lara still stuck it in the net.
Owen Kelly, 1-5 from the first half. Tip had 2-7 from play in that first half. 2-11 their total at that stage. Right now it's 2-14. And it's another one for Kelly. So a double substitution coming up. Cian McCarthy, one of those going off, and the players coming on will be number 19 Jamie Nagle and number 21 Jerry O'Connor. Players coming off for Cork, Shane O'Neill and the man I mentioned earlier, who is Cian McCarthy. That's a great catch taken by Park Cronin. And again it's Cummins, this huge figure of a man there, managing to claw that one down, prevent a near certain point. It's an occasion when heroics are required. Jamie Nagle that time beaten for it. Noel McGrath getting it in, taken up here by Lara Corbett, flying into action. What a score! Goal on the point now for Lara Corbett, his goal after 28 minutes of the first half. Wonderful score here to make it 2-15-14. It's a 7-point game once again, and Tip always keep that distance. That's beautiful style.
Yeah, beautiful ball by Noel McGrath. Great diagonal ball straight into Lara's hand, and brilliant score. And Pat Cronin again catching the ball. He's after catching maybe 4 or 5 puckouts since he started again.
There's another one. This one over the bar, courtesy of Ben O'Connor, his second point. So 6 points once again, but Cork don't seem to be able to get any closer at this stage of the match. Just over 11 minutes gone in the second half. Brian Murphy, this time the fullback, gets out there, but he's knocked off it by Paudie O'Sullivan. Good play by O'Sullivan. Now Pat Horgan looking at the target, hoping it'll come in sufficiently for him. Batted out by Cummins again. He's been busy. way down the field, intended there for Noel McGrath. McGrath gets it, hit into space, nobody there except Stephen MacDonald. Gets there ahead of his man Owen Kelly. Released as far as William Egan. Nicely done. And that's a good looking shot, and that's gone over the bar. It's Niall McCarthy with his third.
Yeah, he's having a big game, Niall McCarthy. He has both David Young and Paddy Stephen in the tip defence are both under pressure. And no, I think if Cork can get the next score or two, they're still in this game. They're playing some very good hurling, and a couple of subs after coming in there as well now.
Back comes Garrod Ryan. Tipperary looking menacing. Ryan, well blocked by Owen Cadigan. That would have been a goal surely. Bonner Mark comes back in, stopped by Donald O'Cusack. Should have been a goal for Tipperary.
Yeah, but a brilliant block by Owen Cadigan. He just came out of nowhere, and it looked like Garrod Ryan had nothing to do, just to put it in the back of the net. A brilliant block by Cadigan. Ben
O'Connor counter-attacking down towards Paddy O'Sullivan. Two men on him, trying to slip the hand pass forward. Stopped, fouled by David Young, free in. It's only a 5-point game. Paddy O'Sullivan may require treatment, and David Young has been spoken to, and he will get a yellow card for that, I think. This once again is where Owen Cadigan came across. Yellow card for David Young, by the way.
Yeah, that really was a certain goal and game over, and brilliant block. And now if Cork scored its three, they're back to 4 points. It could be one of the most crucial moments of the game.
Well, that's where O'Sullivan was unceremoniously taken down. And there was a yellow card for John O'Brien as well, I understand. So 2 yellow cards issued to Tipperary in the last couple of minutes. Free hit and put over the bar by Pat Horgan. 8 points for Horgan in this match. 2-15 to 17 points. Shades of the match of 2 years ago here, when there wasn't really very much between them. Cork coming back again. Storming forward there, William Egan. On as far as Jerry O'Connor. Here's Lochlan McLaughlin trying to go by. Slipped in as far as Niall McCarthy. The angle shot from McCarthy has gone wide. That's a total of 8 wides for Cork. 3 of them now in the second half. Still 2-15 to 17 points, and there's a lot of hurling, thankfully, still to be played in this match. A 4-point game. Brendan Commons pucking it out. Those 2 goals now in the first half giving Tipperary a comfort base. Lark Orbit back again, blocked well, taken down with great spirit and determination, that time by Jerry O'Connor. They try to get a hand pass across here and succeed in the end and get the ball away. The shot is by Niall McCarthy, who's got 3 so far, and he's going to have to be content with 3. Well, that was hit in some haste there. I think he was probably feeling good on his game, thought it might go over, it didn't quite work for him. Another sub being introduced now for Cork, and this time it's going to be Tom Kenny who comes on, and he's on for Lochlan McLaughlin.
Yeah, you know, and if this strategy works out, if Cork do go on to win the game, Dennis Walsh will get great credit. It's kind of a rugby strategy, but you know, he brought on the 2 together, brought on Tom Kenny there now, and he obviously had this thought out well in advance, and it'll be interesting to see how it finishes now.
Fascinating match. First round of the Munster Championship. So much to look forward to in the summer of 2011, here live on the Sunday game. Cork battling back. Niall McCarthy. Tip, trying to once again get their attack going with reasonable ball going into their forwards, but denied possession. And it comes back again, this time to Tom Kenny. First introduction. The shot was attempted from way out there, but blocked down well by Pádraig Maher. Back it comes again, right on the sideline there. Niall McCarthy hitting it. And David Young, the last man to pick himself up off the ground somewhat gingerly. And Niall McCarthy is well and truly revved up at this stage, and he is injured. Oof. Just as well David Young wasn't in the firing line that time.
A fairly wild stroke, but lucky I think he hit the ball.
So Niall McCarthy looks to be a cramp affecting him at this stage. Scorer of 3 points. By the way, the scoring opportunities so far: Cork have created 33, Tipperary have created 28, 17 scores per team, as you can see. And let me give you the attendance here as well. They were hoping for a crowd of around 30,000. They've exceeded that slightly. It's 31,231. Not bad.
No, it's a great crowd considering €30 for a stand ticket. You know, a lot of people talking about it during the week. It's very expensive for a first round game, but the supporters still came out in big numbers. You know, maybe traditionally you'd expect maybe 40,000 here for Cork Tip match, but it's still a good crowd.
Ben O'Connor cuts it in towards Pat Horgan. Luke O'Farrell gets there first. The Middleton man is pulled back. Free in. 2:15 to 17. If this goes over, there'll only be 3 between them.
But Cork have really dominated the game for the last 10 or 12 minutes. They've all the momentum with them. Tipperary just took their foot off the pedal a little bit, and now, you know, Cork are dominating right around the half-back line middle of the field for the last 10-15 minutes.
That's 4 pointed frees in the second half now for Pat Horgan. Brendan Cummins has been doing a lot of pucking out. Remember, Waterford are the Munster hurling champions, Tip the All-Ireland champions. A place in the Munster semi-final at stake. Beginning of the championship. That's brilliantly taken down by Seamus Callanan, knocking it beautifully into the path of Garrow O'Brien, and Tip need a response, but that's not going to be that. A wayward shot by Garrow O'Brien. They needed a point.
Brilliant catch here by Seamus Callanan. And a great ball to Garrow O'Brien, and Garrow overcompensated for the wind and hit it wide.
Borris-Ileigh blocked down. It's lost to Luke O'Farrell. Wonderfully classy, spirited play being shown by Cork in the second half. They're making a right fight of it. Pat Horgan out here to the sideline. Paddy Stapleton tried to get to him, but he couldn't do so, and that's floated over the bar. The fans are happy, deliriously happy, still believing that it can be Cork's day against all the odds. 7 points down at half-time. It's now a 2-point game. And Tipperary are the ones who are looking rattled. John O'Keefe struggling to get away from the challenge. Gets it out as far as Padraig Maher, the centre-half back. Hits it right into the forwards. Out comes Cadigan. Takes it well. A good block earlier on. A great clearance now. A neat balance by Ben O'Connor. Nobody's able to get to him. O'Keefe's too far behind. And Ben O'Connor in classical style puts it over the bar. His 3rd point. Second in the second half. 2:15 to 20 points. In pounds, shillings and pence, that's 21 points to 20.
Yeah, Jared, 2 brilliant points there, the last 2 points. Pat Horgan first of all from the sideline straight over the black spot, and then Owen Cadigan with a brilliant catch. Great control by Ben O'Connor and over the bar. Fantastic game now, and you know, we predicted maybe a few minutes ago that Cork weren't finished, but they certainly aren't.
What's happened to Tipperary, the All-Ireland champions? Where's their response? Garrow O'Brien advancing, and he threw the ball free to Cork. And from this attack, they can try and mount their next challenge to Tipperary's goal and try and tie up the match. Haven't been scoring many goals since the 3 last year in the corresponding match this very same weekend. Gardner, way down. Paddy O'Sullivan taking it down well. Hands, knees and bumps a daisy with Paul Curran. They go piggybacks.
But Jerry, you commented in the first half about some of the frees. That's ridiculous for player Paul Curran's ability, just to run straight out over his back like that, and no danger. He's 40 yards out with his back to the goal, and a silly free to give away.
They were level 5 times in the first half. This will be the 6th time they've drawn level. If Pat Horgan can put it over and get his 11th point, which he can. What a match. 2:15 to 21 points. I think about 20 minutes or so ago you wouldn't have been giving Cork too much chance, but now the triumvirate of Declan Ryan, Tommy Dunn and Michael Gleeson have got to hatch a plan. There are 15, maybe 14 minutes still to play of the 70. They've got to come back into it. Lark Corbett leading the way, last year's hurler of the year, and Tip are back in front again. 1-2 for Lark Corbett. 2:16 to 21 points.
Yeah, he's moved out the field, Ger, as a third midfielder in the last 5 minutes and broke onto that and knew that they needed a score. You know, normally he might have carried that a bit further, but they needed a score to settle him. It's the first score in a long time, and a great point.
Well, Brian Murphy is the nearest one to him. He's the one marking him. Paul Ringmar gets it back for Tipperary. Now can they build upon that last point, or will Cork come back with one of their own? Neatly taken out here by Stephen MacDonald. Hooked there well by Seamus Calvin, playing brilliantly. Slipped it forward here as far as Noel McGrath. McGrath, the little hand pass over towards Woodlock. James Woodlock trying to get it under control. Back it goes to Larcourt, being forced back towards the 65-metre line. Diagonally over here to Callinan once again, trying to break through two defenders. One of them there was Jerry O'Connor, and the referee saw him going to ground, deciding it's a foul on the Tipperary wing forward, free into Tip. Combination of players there, finally getting the drum and inch player to the floor. That was the hook earlier on there on Stephen MacDonald, brilliantly done by Seamus Callinan.
Yeah, and that was a part of his play. I think the Tip manager were looking to improve on last year was his chasing and harrying and tackling, and he's obviously learned his lesson, and brilliant hook there, and he won the free as well, and he scored 3 points in play. He's having a huge game.
Well, Cork have introduced 3 subs, Tip just 1 so far, so they have switches and changes they can possibly make yet. They are, for instance, right now preparing Conor O'Mahony should he be required. Maybe it's a precaution on the part of Declan Ryan's part. Wasn't he some player as a centre-half forward, Declan Ryan? One of the greats.
He was a great player, and
terrific.
Vital member of the 2001 team, where he won his 3rd All-Ireland in 2001.
But he had a presence apart from anything else, hadn't he?
Yeah, won All-Irelands in 3 different decades, which is, there's very few players have done that.
And there is Brendan Maher, of course. He's out with a foot injury. Hope to see him back shortly. He's the Muir Camoyne this afternoon. Right now he'll watch like everybody else as Owen Kelly takes the free, which follows that last foul. The foul on Calden and the shot by Owen Kelly, and he's now got a goal and 7. And it's 2-17 to 21 points. 2 between them. Tipperary making the change now. Coming off is David Young, and the player who's going on in his stead, Conor O'Mahony.
Yeah, he'll go straight to centre back with Pádraig Maher going out in the wing. And David Young had just got a yellow card and a few points scored off him, so good substitution, I think.
There's no point in hanging around and possibly risking a red. Tip in the business of winning this match. Cork have designs on it as well, but they're under pressure from Noel McGrath, and McGrath is simply a terrific young hurler. 3 points. Where did he get the latitude even to swing the stick that time to get this score? Pure wizardry here, under intense pressure as the ball came back out to him and swung off his left and put it over, and all of a sudden it's a 3-point game again. Yeah. Cork have managed to get up that hill already once in the second half. Now can they get back up there again?
Yeah, well, Tipper shown why they're champions, All-Ireland champions. A great response after, Cork scored 5 or 6 points in a row. But you're just talking about Noel McGrath, like all great players, his appreciation of space around him, where the space was. He was covered on all sides. He took 1 step into the space and straight over the bar, and he's just a genius on the ball, and it's creating scores for everyone else around him as well.
Right, coming up to 60 minutes gone. Dennis Walsh knows 10 minutes to go. Path in there, one of his selectors. Watching now as Stonewall Cusack prepares to puck this one out. 10 minutes then to decide the destination of this particular match. And that's one in the middle of the park by Garroyd Ryan, who's lost his helmet. He's also won a free for his team for holding.
I'd say Pat Cronin is going to get a yellow card now for pushing in the face guard, which is a yellow card. Any contact with the face guard.
And indeed, you're right, yellow card. Both Cork midfielders starting the day now on yellow. Lachlan McLaughlin, who has been subbed by Tom Kenny already. So another free and another sub preparing to come on very, very shortly. That'll be Benny Dunn.
Yeah, who again last year in the All-Ireland final, massive contribution when he came on, but he's doomed it all last year for Tip. Very experienced player.
That's lobbed in there. Goalkeeper under pressure again, remained ice cool, waited for it to come. The delivery again, perfect. Out there as far as Niall McCarthy, that inimitable style. Then on as far as Ben O'Connor. In fact, it wasn't Ben, it was Tom Kenny. Ran on to Pa Cronin, lost it there. Out came Michael Cahill. And Mickey Cahill getting it in there as far as Seamus Calden, who's showing a willingness to go out, get the ball, get possession, take the hits, try the shot, but it's going to go just wide. He's played well, he's worked hard. So another change now, and it's Benny Dunn who comes on. Player going off, John O'Brien. Well, it's great that Declan Ryan is in the position, the very happy position of being able to freshen up his side at this critical late stage in the match. 8 minutes to go, and the team 3 points ahead. Well caught by William Egan at centre half back for Cork, and then there was a pull on him which the referee has spotted, so it's got to be a free to Cork. I think it's Pa Cronin, isn't it? Yeah, Pa Cronin got there. He was the one who was fouled, and it's Pat Horgan who comes out to take this. 11 points to his credit so far. Ball positioned right on the 65-metre line. Now Corbett getting back there, hands in the air, Hurley in the air, anything at all just to try and put the young Glen Rovers man off. So Patrick, who's 23 years of age now, been forced to move it out just outside the 65 to add to his 11 points if he can already in this match. That's an impressive tally, and that's an impressive strike. And Cork are still within touching distance, so tantalisingly close to the All-Ireland champions. 2-18 for Tipperary, 22 points for Cork.
Yeah, 9 frees. You know, Tip's discipline hasn't been great today, and I think it's because of the pressure that the Cork forwards have been putting on them. You know, good lively young forward line moving all over the place, and Tip find it hard to cope with them.
Jerry O'Connor shooting almost instinctively, but it drops into the lap there of Brendan Cummins. Back up the field again it comes. Bonner-Maher waited, Brian Murphy made it happen, went in, got it. William Egan slipping it back in there into the centre, but missed by Jerry O'Connor. Tipperary have the chance. There was a gap there just for a moment for Benny Dunn to try and exploit. Owen Kelly there as well to put pressure on Egan, and the big strong man from Kilburn gets it back out here, out into the centre as far as Jamie Nagle. Championship debut for him this afternoon. Again, the stalemate broken up here by Cork and by Brian Murphy, slipping the hand pass there to John Gardner. Back down into the forwards. Pat Horgan's there on his own at this stage. Michael Cahill covering the ground. Young man who's got, well, he's played in the Fitzgibbon Cup on 3 occasions, 3 years row with UCC. Pa Cronin, also a Fitzgibbon Cup player, shoots, but again, how many times has Brendan Cummins?
5, I think. That 5 balls dropped into him.
5.
Yeah, very, very bad. Jerry O'Connor before that, and then Pat Cronin, instead of just playing the ball in front of the full forward line.
Again, he drives it a good 90 metres up the field towards Owen Kelly, being marked by Stephen MacDonald. What a task the young man's had this afternoon. Out to Brian Murphy. Cork will take a lot of pluses from this, even if they go down to a defeat here. And I think Tipperary will feel that they've simply got to win. Coming through here is Tom Kenny, strongly built. Back out it comes, that time Jerry O'Connor. Inside towards his twin brother, Ben. The O'Connors involved, and the final shot has dropped away to the right-hand side, and it's gone wide.
Yeah, I think that Niall McCarthy, that run from Tom Kenny, Niall McCarthy was gone through the centre. I think if Tom Kenny had seen him and just slipped a little hand pass, he was gone right through on the goals, and instead he turned the other way and led to a wide. It
may be a first-round Munster Championship match, but there's a lot of tension around still. Pride's at stake. I said at the very beginning, revenge for 2010 is probably top of the agenda where Tip are concerned, and they almost had a chance to seal it there with Benny Dunn trying to break through, but Cadigan's lost it, and here's a chance, and that could be the decisive move, and it's put to the back of the net by Benny Dunn. It's come on the 66th minute, should have been cleared. Donald O'Cusack beaten for the 3rd time. Last year it was Tip who were taking the ball out of their net. This time it's Cork, and those goals have been of paramount importance.
But Gerard's no mistake. It's Patrick Bonner-Maher. This is the type of work he does for Tipperary all the time. Brilliant dispossession there, and Benny Dunn buries it. And you have the 6 Tip forwards who started, plus Benny Dunn who came on all scoring from play as well, which is a great statistic.
Pa Burke is on in place of Garroyd Ryan for Tipperary. Right in the middle of the park. It's William Egan trying to get the ball away. First of all, trying to get the ball up. Again, it's Tipperary there with Pa Burke trying to get to it. Out come Cork, and it's swept away down towards Horgan once again. Collects it brilliantly, gets away from his man, being held once or twice. Referee has noted it, and it's going to be a free in for Cork. 5 between them. So late in the game at this stage, in the 67th minute. Well, there were a combination of players there making absolutely sure that he wasn't going to enjoy too much latitude, and one of them, Conor O'Mahony, being shown a yellow card.
Well, he knew exactly what he was doing. He wasn't going to let him in on the goals, and a professional foul.
Is that called taking the yellow card for the team? Pat Horgan, 13 points in all. But is he to finish on a losing team? 4 points the margin. This time Tipperary with the ball stolen, as you say, by Patrick Maher, and Benny Dunn fires it in past Donald O'Cusack. 3:18 at this stage to 23 points. Lark Corbett came out to collect but didn't take it. Instead it is Brian Murphy, almost losing his way, surrounded by Tipperary players. One of them was Lark Corbett, and it was kicked out over the sideline. Lar has decided anyway. Well, some dispirited Cork fans. Are they facing the qualifiers? Some more subs about to come on, and we'll have very shortly introduced here Cathal Naughton and Kieran Murphy.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw what happened there. Larry Corbett went to retrieve the sliotar out over the sideline, and he seemed to strike just a bit of a tip on the back of the ankle to one of the Cork hurley carriers down there on the sideline.
Well, he's got to get a card, it seems. There you go. Goal and 2 for Lar today, plus a yellow card. 3:18 to 23 points in the 69th minute. Cork still waiting to introduce their last 2 subs. Meanwhile, Noel McGrath, he caught one up in the first half from the sideline, and he's caught another now. 4 points in all. And it is Tipperary who are leading the game by 5 points at a critical stage of the match now at this stage, with time almost up. So on comes Cathal Naughton, and I think some Cork followers are going to wonder, should he have been introduced earlier on? And it's Pat Horgan who's coming off the field, along with Paulie O'Sullivan. Well, perhaps they feel they've given about as much as they possibly can, and
well, I don't know what that would do for Pat Horgan's confidence. He scored 13 points, 3 from play, 10 frees. He had a great game, and then he's taken off, you know, as a token in the last minute. I can't understand that.
Well, they will discuss it afterwards, but right now it's a case of playing out the remaining moments of this match, as Cork have now used up their full 5 complement of subs, and Tipperary, who lead, as you can see, by 5 points, try to make that even better, and they do so through Seamus Callanan. What a return to the action for him. 4 points from play this afternoon. Constantly involved, a big influence and a big factor in what is now surely a Tipperary victory. And they go for more, and it's James Woodlock. Listen to the cheer if this goes over, and it's stopped by Donald O'Cusack, but he got this stick maybe above and over the bar to keep it out, and the very vigilant umpire has said it went over before you brought it back in. So James Woodlock gets the point, and it gets even better from a Tipperary point of view. 3 minutes of additional time to be played, and we're into that now, and the margin is 7 points. Here's William Egan trying to cut out the supply to the Tipperary forwards. Well, they had their fallow period for about 20 minutes in the second half, but the last 50 minutes or so of the game, they've come strongly again. Cork did as much as they were able to do, getting it back up to level at one stage when they hit 21 points, but unable to build upon that. Tip's sharper response, their sense of character, the sense of having to do it this year against Cork, well, that certainly was the telling factor during the second half. More cramp, this time for Luke O'Farrell. Well, Cork will go into the qualifiers, where they will be drawn there with the teams leaving the Leinster Championship in the first round as well. So there'll be quite a route for them if they hope to go through that so-called back door. Here we go again. Take a look at this. The umpire decided that ball was over the bar and brought back in by the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think it was. I think Tipperary would be delighted, you know, for the defence of the All-Ireland. Scored 3-21, their movement of their attack. But the only thing is, I think, you know, their discipline was poor, gave away an awful lot of frees. David Young struggled a bit, Paddy Stapleton struggled a bit, so you know they have things to work on, but it's only the end of May, and you know, compared to last year, they're absolutely flying. 17 frees I think they gave away over the hour, and Brian Gavin is not, you know, usually too trigger or whistle happy, so that'll be a worry for them. But as I say, they'll be happy now to go on, and they're going to be very, very difficult to beat.
So we're in the last 50 seconds then or thereabouts of this match. Tipper even thinking about bringing on Shane Burke for a championship debut. For the last few seconds, there he is, number 18, got 3 goals and 4 points in the league in one match against Galway, you might remember. That free is hit by Conor O'Mahony, dropping it into the square again, and Owen Kelly goes in pursuit, but there first John Gardner, and now it's just a matter of playing out the remaining few moments of this first round Munster Championship match, which had many high points at one stage during the second half, especially when the teams drew level, but the response from Tipperary was admirable. They showed character, they showed leadership, and they showed a real determination that they weren't going to get beaten by Cork 2 years on the trot. They're ahead by 7, lost by 10 last year. No question about it this time. Those 3 goals, so important. Once again they challenge Pa Burke. 3 minutes now has been played, so it's a case of just continuing till this goes out of play, I would suspect. And Seamus Callan, from a near impossible angle, floats it over for his 5th point. A fitting way to end the tie. The Tipperary forward line were so impressive, and they have won here and won well by 8 points, and there's no question or doubt about it. Cork did their best, but it wasn't quite good enough.
No, Ger, and you know, they did in the second half. They came back, they drew level, and you know, really looked with the wind behind them that they had a great chance. Brought on a few subs like Tom Kenny and Jerry O'Connor, but Tipperary showed why they're All-Ireland champions. They pulled away and a brilliant last 10 minutes by them. And you know, as you said, their forward line, Seamus Callan, 5 points from play. Noel McGrath, 4 points, 2 brilliant line balls and 2 from play. And Owen Kelly 1-2. Lara Corbett 1-2, John O'Brien a couple of points, Benny, you know, they have it everywhere, and there's so many options up front, and you know, as I said earlier, they look really, really good in the defence of All-Ireland.
The next task will be a match against Clare in 3 weeks' time in the Munster semi-final. Once Benny Dunn's goal went in after 66 minutes, that just about put paid to any comeback that Cork were able to mount. So the result here at Semple Stadium, victory for Tipperary. Final score, Tipperary 3 goals and 22 points, Cork 23 points.